Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Welcome
everyone.
back to the den.
Welcome back to our den, the elephant den. It's Ashli.
And Alex. Today, okay, so I was thinking we do, as brief as we can, discussion on the Oscars. The Oscars are coming up March 12th, the Sunday. I believe it's the 95th annual Oscars.
Ooh la la.
We're both fans.
Big fans.
There's a lot of fond memories of getting excited for the Oscars.
Yeah, I used to watch the Oscars when I was a kid, and I think that was part of the inspiration to become a movie actress. I thought that gold statue was really cool. I wanted one.
And just seeing their happiness walking up on the stage, it's
Yeah.
a special
I'm
moment for a lot
sure
of people.
I'm not the only one who's prepared an Oscar speech.
It's hard to talk about the Oscars without going into all the controversy surrounding it.
Yeah.
It is a unsavory topic for a lot of people. The Oscars as a whole are criticized for being, well, they've lost their sense of fun.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little too long, not inclusive of art house movies. You know, they more lean toward the blockbusters or
Yeah, it's got many opinions about it. And
some of which I could agree with. You know, the Oscars have been and always will be political. I do think they've devolved from the ceremony of the craft to what it is now, a little more even political.
it's just, yeah, it's controversial.
But Ash and I aren't here to bash the Oscars or really go into that. We're here today just to talk about some of the nominees. A majority of these films we haven't even watched yet.
Yeah.
But there's a few we've had, and we've gone quite excited for them.
Yeah.
So without going through each category, I was thinking maybe just some of the acting categories and a few surprises.
Yeah, because there's some movies that we've yet to see, so we're just going to talk about the movies that we did see.
So, actor in a leading role, I think 3 stand out from the 5. Well, okay, that's the 3 we've seen. Actually, one we haven't seen, pardon me,
I do really want to see
The Whale
The Whale.
with Brendan Fraser. Yeah, I mean, I grew up, you know, in the early 2000s, 90s, the movies like The Mummy. I know you were a huge fan of
George of the Jungle?
George of the Jungle.
Oh!
And yeah, he's kind of now had this resurgence, and everyone's on his side, and he seems like a very
Down to earth.
good guy. Very emotional lately.
Especially when we watched
nice
him
to see.
on The Round Table.
That was a great episode.
It was so good. He was with other actors
Austin
like
Butler
Austin
as well,
Butler
who's
as
also
well.
nominated.
He just sounded, sorry, I just wanted to say Brendan Fraser just sounded so down to earth and humble, and especially when he talked about his role on The Whale.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see that. And
Yeah, I think from what I've seen, the footage, he looks like he really carries that movie. Because it seems very confined. It seems like it all takes place in the house that he's in.
yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Definitely, what's also nice I'll just say about that is he seems very grateful for this role and.
Well, yeah, that's
his
why it's like
resurgence.
I have a soft spot for him because he just sounds like a humble, genuine person.
Right.
And so the fact that he's nominated for the Oscars, that's amazing.
Austin Butler, young man, kind of coming up in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I first saw him. He was on Disney, I believe, back in the day. But I first saw him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I didn't even know that was him for quite a. He's great. In Elvis and the roles we've seen of him so far.
There's a
rising.
video I saw of Austin Butler talking before the role of Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one him after the role of Elvis, like in an interview.
Yeah.
And he really adapted that.
Yeah, I don't think
Elvis
people
accent.
it's weird. It almost seems like people are making fun of it. Or listen, when you commit to a role like that for 2 years, and you could tell he was very methodical about it, and voice acting, voice coaches.
Yeah.
Like he really.
No, he worked really hard for this
And
role.
they have some parallel similarities, him and Elvis in real life. But so I could believe it. His voice changing, and as you get older, your voice does change.
That's the thing with being an actor, is you're really prepping yourself to be this character, and that's like one of my fears, is like working so hard to like be a character with the whole voice, the way they move, and all that, and then carrying that with you, and then just kind of losing your identity within. And I feel like that's actually a thing for actors, is the ability to lose your identity yourself, because you're constantly playing other characters and roles and really diving deep into that. I mean, kudos to Austin Butler. And if anything, that accent is sexy. So,
Yeah, agreed.
go Austin Butler.
Yeah. These actors and actresses work on these roles for years. From the moment they first pick up the role to when production is finally done, and then to just cancel it out or have it end.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not a character you necessarily want to be.
No, exactly. I loved, there was this one interview I saw with Anya Taylor-Joy who talks about like the love that she has for all of her characters that she plays, especially, or like even ones that are, there was one movie where she played a murderer, and she had to learn to love that character, even though she was pure evil.
You hate him.
And I thought that was interesting. Like she made herself believe that the character was doing the right thing, even though, like morally, that the character's not doing the right thing. So I find that very challenging too.
The last actor I wanted to touch on is Colin Farrell, who I've loved forever.
Yes.
He's done all sorts of roles, from big historical epics to superhero villain, and some dramatic roles sprinkled throughout. This is his second collaboration with, oh boy, what's his name?
He did In Bruges. I have to mention him. Yeah, the director and writer of In Bruges.
Excuse me, Martin McDonagh. Okay, so this is his second collaboration with director and writer Martin McDonagh. First time was in Bruges in 2008, and with actor Brendan Gleeson. So Colin Farrell, to make a short point of it, I really love the guy.
Me too.
There's something about his eyes and his thick eyebrows that express so much emotion, and he does such a good job at combining comedy and tragedy into a character.
Yeah.
And I really felt for his role as like the village idiot.
To be honest, I didn't know he was Irish. I thought that like that Irish accent was trained.
Oh.
Like he practiced that, but that's his real
both
accent.
him and Brendan
so.
are Irish.
I mean, I first discovered him in Saving Mr. Banks.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I like loved him.
He was an alcoholic,
Which is like,
right?
yeah, he was just the alcoholic dad.
Mm-hmm.
And
A minor role, but
it stuck with me.
People remember him in that one.
Yeah. So that's where my love for him grew.
Continuing with Banshees of Inisherin, because now we're in supporting roles. Brendan Gleeson, also Irish, seems like an old soul. He was great as well. He's nominated along with Barry Keoghan. He's a young actor, up and coming.
Yes.
I mean, he's to be the new Joker and the new Batman. He does well with the whole like kind of the awkward quirks and like touching his face kind of things, and so it's.
Which is funny because I kind of thought it was a little too much when I was watching the film, but
Right.
I think when rewatching some of the scenes like we saw yesterday, I was like, it does come across real enough.
The scene where he's confessing his love, not really
Yeah.
confessing, but by the lake.
You probably wouldn't ever want to, I don't know, to fall in love with a boy like me, would you?
You know that's gonna be the clip they put up, right, when they do the Oscar. They go through the
Right, and they
that's
show
gonna
the
be his clip,
scene.
because that scene I think is what got it for him. Oh, another great one, Ki-Hu Kwan.
Yes.
Also known as a short round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Which I was so surprised that was him.
And he didn't act between then and now, and
Which is crazy.
That's like 30 years.
Yeah, he talked about this in the actually in the roundtable. All of these actors are like,
not all, but
most
yeah,
of them are in the
he was on
roundtable
yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
But he talks about how he pretty much gave up, or like was gonna give up acting just because he thought he wasn't good enough.
I love how I mentioned that Steven Spielberg still sends him annual. It's either Christmas or birthday gifts and,
I think it's
and letters.
Christmas.
So sweet. And he's a very sweet, also having kind of a resurgence similar to Brendan Fraser.
I feel like I relate to him on like a smaller scale just because I'm like someone who's aspiring to be an actress in film and TV, and you just get those moments where you think you're not good enough or you want to give up, and he kind of talked about that in the roundtable, and it's inspiring because look at him now. He's nominated for an Oscar.
Well, even just how happy.
It makes me emotional.
Yeah, it was really emotional to watch him on the roundtable. He was extremely grateful, and I loved seeing that. So I wish him the best for the Oscars and for his career. Actress in a leading role. I think there's only we could really talk about. We haven't watched Tar yet with Cate Blanchett.
I want to watch that.
It seems like it's hers to lose, or Michelle Yeoh.
Or Ana de Armas.
That was a very controversial movie.
So you don't think?
Well, this goes back to the Oscars being politically correct. Yeah, I feel like.
But the fact that they even nominated her.
It's impressive.
So maybe the Oscars are changing.
And Ana de Armas, did you think she looked like Marilyn Monroe?
You know what? In the first trailer I saw, I was quite impressed with her whole hair, makeup, and everything.
Right.
I thought she was beautiful. Not Marilyn Monroe, but it is one of the most difficult things, I think, to play a character that already exists, right? Like to play another person, just because you have to get all those quirks and everything about that person you have to get right. And I think that's a lot of pressure to act, particularly the accent and the voice and talking like a person, a real existing person. So I think she did an incredible job, although you could tell it wasn't perfect, which I hate saying that because she did a really good job, but you could still hear her Ana de Armas.
I would imagine as an actress, there's something to having to find the character on your own, just from the script and how the director envisions it.
Well, I know not on her own, but
that's what I mean. This is based off a real person, and it makes it that much more harder and not as accessible, even though you have all this footage to go through.
Right. It's a lot of preparation work to play a character that exists.
So kudos to that.
And you can't really, if the director allows it, but you can't really use your own imagination, right?
Exactly.
Which you usually would do with a character. But for her, you have to really study these. Like,
right.
Even, what's her name? Natalie Portman in Jackie.
Yes.
She even talks about having to play that girl, Jackie Kennedy.
There you go.
And
that girl.
It's very challenging.
Yeah, how do you find color and nuances when trying to do that kind of performance based off someone already?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean color and nuances?
Well, just, you get a direction from the director to do the scene. Maybe it's improvised, and you want to sprinkle in your own little parts that are you, and that's what I mean by color and nuance. And I feel like when you're trying to imitate someone, that's a lot harder to do.
Right, because you still want to be in the present moment and you still want to play that exact moment. And so, to be honest, I can't really answer that question because I've never done that. But to my imagination, I feel like if I was in that situation, I would constantly be thinking about the pressure of trying to live up to this character in terms of voice, accent, behavior. And then on top of that, play the emotions and the feelings I'm feeling in that exact moment. Super hard. I'm even still in training to do just playing the present moment, right?
Right.
Without dealing with all that pressure. So, or like trying to remove all that pressure of being in front of a camera with an audience. Like I have that. So to have to add the fact that you're playing a real like life person
It's
beyond
interesting.
what I could do.
Did you want to
right
talk
now.
about Michelle Yeoh and Everything Everywhere and All at Once?
Yes.
What a fun role.
I mean, honestly, I haven't really watched any of her other stuff. This is the first time.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
Nope.
No.
So this is the first time seeing her in a film. I really loved her. She was really good.
Yeah, fun role.
Fun role.
Physical,
Yeah.
emotional.
Yeah.
She brought it. She's...
Just even in terms of, I wonder if she did her own stunts.
Yeah, I could imagine, yes.
Because that's cool. But I don't know too much about Michelle Yeoh, so...
I mean, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, big action movie.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be
seen it.
surprised if she did a lot of her own stunts. Okay, well, so kind of a surprise, for me it was a big surprise this year. Under animated feature films. Again, we haven't watched all of them. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Ooh,
We're going to talk about
yes.
2. And I think...
You know what's a surprising one for me? Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
why is that? You didn't watch it?
I mean, I didn't watch it, and I didn't think the trailer was that appealing to me. Just because I've seen Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, just because...
You saw it?
Well, no, sorry, the original
Oh.
video that came out on YouTube like years ago. Just because my dad's name is Marcel, and so we thought
Hi,
it was
Marcel.
so funny that this shell named Marcel became this huge viral video.
Well, let's give it a chance.
So, but the trailer, like, I don't know, have you seen the trailer?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't think it was that interesting, but the fact that it was nominated for an animated feature
It's
film,
worth checking out.
let's check it out now.
Let's check it out.
Let's take this seriously.
Let's do that. Okay, but Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, we both loved it.
Loved it.
It
made me cry.
Well, yeah, I think it took those themes of death and grieving, and especially the end really hit you with a gut punch. It reminded me very much of Steven Spielberg's artificial intelligence film, which
And why
I will
is that?
definitely talk about in the future because that's
Okay,
one
I'll
of my
talk about
favorite, most underrated Spielberg movies, but I think movies of all time. But Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, very important themes though, and it was, yeah, he took a lot of things from the original story, but also made it his own. I love the design. I love the stop motion.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what did you think of the animation?
It was great. I loved the character design. I loved the simplicity of the songs. That they used all wood instruments. I don't know if you knew that, but for all the
Oh,
songs,
I
it was
didn't
all
know.
wood instruments.
Interesting.
And
Oh, I like that.
yeah, I loved. I really enjoyed it. However, I think the biggest surprise for me in 2022 was Puss in Boots. And
The Last Wish.
wow.
What?
a movie.
I didn't expect it to be so good.
Yeah, I didn't even watch the first Puss in Boots. I've only heard things of it.
I didn't even watch the trailer. I just heard from you and other people.
One day after its release, everyone's talking about how good it is.
And I found the marketing for it wasn't that much. You know, I didn't see a lot of advertisements for Puss in Boots before the release.
But I love good surprises, and this
Yeah.
was such a good surprise. I loved how the animation was so fun. Obviously, took inspiration from Into the Spider-Verse. So
Ooh,
dynamic.
all the fight scenes.
The
I
action
thought it was
scenes.
so like Japanese anime.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool.
so cool. The characters were all great. I thought that Chihuahua was going to be an annoying comic relief. Some of the best emotional beats were with that character when he's revealing his backstory and he doesn't
Yeah.
even know how tragic it is, but we know.
Right.
The moment where he tries to be like a what do you call it? An emotional support dog? What do you call those?
Support dog.
And he puts his, Puss is having an anxiety attack.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that like made me cry.
That was such a good, such a simple,
So simple.
so simple, but so well executed.
And relatable.
Yes. Well, and so I think for a lot of people, it'll be the character of Death was what really made it. I think it's in the tier of best DreamWorks / animation villains of all time.
I wonder if the whistle that you hear every time Death appears in the movie comes from Once Upon a Time in the West.
Overall, the movie is fun.
Yeah,
it's
it's hilarious.
It's very light.
Like the Spanish Splinter.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, you feel that too. But
You feel it.
like throughout the movies, played for fun, vibrant. But then every time that character, the wolf, comes on, you feel this dread and his red eyes and the way he just stares down. And he hardly has any actual screen time, but he's sprinkled throughout, and it just constantly you feel his presence.
I thought it
And
was
love
interesting. Yeah, me too. I thought it was interesting that they had so many enemies. Like
all the villains were great.
Yeah, there were so many villains. You know what it was? It was like the whole time it was all unexpected for me. I couldn't expect the story, and I love when movies do that.
And the characters were played for, they weren't made to have big arcs. They were who they were, and the villains were straight up villains. And they had their foes with even Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but then they kind of team up. I loved it.
I loved it too.
What a great movie.
Well done.
Okay, well, I feel those were the main one I wanted to touch on.
Steven Spielberg is nominated again.
Yeah, The Fabelmans.
I don't know that one.
It's a movie that reflects his childhood and his love for movies. We should watch it.
Ooh, we should watch that.
Yeah. So, but those are the ones I wanted to touch on. I think it would be a little unfair and redundant to go into any more of these for now. In closing that topic, we wanted to talk about some other movies we've watched recently that were, even from last year, like The Menu. But we're not going to go into it now.
Well, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
We'll get there. Because the thing about The Menu is it's relatable to our lives.
Exactly. It would be a great video.
How? Well, just stay tuned and find out.
Yes. Did you want to talk about anything else?
We're not going to talk about the
Which one? Why do we get that?
the story, the prosecutor, or the what? Not the prosecutor.
Which prosecutor? Oh, the prospect.
The prosecutor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Reset. Before we go, we did want to mention randomly, but
Okay, I haven't seen the whole film of this. And okay, first of all, I just want to say I'm a big Coen Brothers fan.
we're big Coen Brothers
Okay,
fans.
sorry, we're both
maybe
big.
my favorite directors ever. Me and
Writers.
my dad, yeah, me and my dad watched all their movies together.
What's your favorite Coen Brother movie?
I have to pick a couple, okay?
Okay, no, your top.
My favorite is The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
Hands
me too.
down. I love Fargo.
Best comedy.
I love Fargo. This movie, which Ashli hasn't watched fully, I showed her one clip. So the movie is Ballad of Buster Scruggs. It is a episodic Western frontier kind of folk tales.
Yeah,
is
almost.
That right?
Yeah.
Maybe not folky, but so I showed Ashli my favorite one, the Gold Prospector with Tom Waits. And what did you think of it?
I loved it.
Hello, Mr. Pocket.
First of all, I want to point out the start to the end of like how he comes out of the bush with his donkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just
His
like
mule.
it just everything. My favorite thing is when a film goes back to the beginning.
Yes.
Like it ends
The
off
first
with
shot
the beginning.
is pretty much the last
or just
shot.
like it relates to it, or
Yes.
there's something in it that's like, bam,
Yes.
that it went for full circle, right?
Yes. And
And this short film did it.
it's so beautiful. He enters All the animals leave, and he's there for what seems like a day or two, prospecting for gold. And when he leaves it pretty much untouched. Still disturbed nature, right? Which I think
Just slightly, as
But-
mankind do.
But he was such a good character from little moments that really told us a lot about him. It's just this man, for the majority of the time, on his own. The other main character being the pocket of gold, which he refers to as Mr. Pocket.
Mr. Pocket.
It's so sweet. And you have this old man who's so motivated, working like he's in his 20s, right?
And it's amazing that he shows this struggle.
I love watching his process and his old man noises.
His like grunts and
Yeah.
his pains and
Yeah,
just even the scene with the owl and the eggs.
He's hungry, of course. He catches a fish in the river, in the creek, and he goes up to the owl nest, and he sees 3 eggs. He puts them all in his bag.
He wants to be a greedy man.
And then he sees the mom, and he's like, oh, I can't do that. So he puts them all back again. But then he says, oh, okay, maybe just one. How high can a bird count anyway? It is so awesome. I
good.
think it's such a good representation of him not being so greedy, yet still, he's
It just
a
adds
man.
more to the character, right? He's not just a greedy man.
Right.
He's a man who's greedy.
In
but
such a small moment. And then you have, of course, the young, what do you call that kid?
The
He's a
killer.
kid who waits for the old man to do all the hard work, and then he just sneaks up on him and shoots an old man in the back.
Yeah,
Horrible.
horrible.
But he gets his
And he
due.
needed no introduction. Like, I just love that. What fascinates me about this whole short film is the fact that it's almost a one-man show, right? It's just this one character. And, I mean, you also do have Mr. Pocket as another character, I guess.
Yeah.
But he's the gold. Right?
Yeah.
Or it's the gold, I should say.
Yes.
And then even this guy that comes in as, like, a second character to, like, create a problem or a
Right.
situation
Yeah.
needed no introduction and needed no outro either. Like, you knew exactly who he was in that exact moment
Yeah,
just by
through and
his
through.
actions, and it's just so
Very consistent.
so well done.
Again, it just shows how the Coen brothers take, they do an amazing job in showing the real human tragedy and how it's funny. These scenarios you completely believe in. They're kind of absurd,
They're
but
so real.
they're so real, so well done. You completely believe all the characters and the situations. And I think they're just the best at doing comedy, tragedy of the human experience.
Exactly.
With all their films, they have it.
Well put.
And this one was great. I love how the kid, after he shoots him, he's so cowardly. He just sits there and, rolls a cigarette. And it's just like this quiet moment, which like on script you would be like, what's going on here? But it's so entertaining to watch.
It's all about the in-between
And
moments.
he's so paranoid. He's like, here's the owl, and he catches the owl. And then he finally like climbs in and he gets his due. And
Just watch it.
guts is all you had.
Guts is all you had.
You ain't
got nothing important.
Yeah, I love it. So that was we definitely have to show Ashli the full film, but I just thought it would be great because I know she loves Coen Brothers, and we wanted to watch something short and quick. I thought it'd be a great little insight into that film, and
It was so
concise.
good. So good. I loved
But yeah,
it.
that's like kind of our fun pick.
If you
of
haven't
this-
seen it,
yeah, watch it.
highly recommend watching it.
Yes. With that, I guess we'll just do our plugs.
Are we done?
Yeah. Did you want to talk about anything else?
No, I guess this is long enough.
We should end it. Again, follow us on Letterboxd. Not a sponsor, but we genuinely love the app. It's free to download. Our profiles will
Make
be
an
in the
account.
description,
Yeah.
just to keep track of our movie watching experience and yours.
Just a brief explanation of how we're going to do these videos on this channel. I just want to quickly explain. It's just going to be a sit down right in front of the camera, you guys, and we're just going to talk about movies.
That's what we love to do.
Yeah, any movies.
And
we
that's
wanna
as
do that
simple as
with
it
you.
is.
So we hope you enjoy this just as much as we do doing it.
Making it, yeah. I'm so happy to already be back.
I know.
And I can't wait to do the next one.
Let's keep this rolling.
Okay,
All right.
bye.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
We will see you next time.
Bye.
Stay awesome.